Is Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. Coming up, we're going to be talking about Ireland possibly qualified, have they, for Euro 2028. Jason Knight, he could be on his way to Everton. Idah got his 20th goal for Celtic, and Johnny Kenny got his first goal for Celtic too. And Josh Keeley is into the League One playoff final. It's Lansdowne Roar. How's it going? Welcome to another edition of Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast, and of course, Connor McAvoy. Lads, you're all very welcome, I suppose. Martin, good to have you back. Thought you'd left us there, you know. Too good for us now.
No, I enjoyed the show last night. It was very, very good. Enjoyed your interaction, reviewing the squad announcement and all the players who obviously Heim has picked, and noted that a lot of my ones were correct. I think, was that right? Was I the closest in the squad prediction? Don't be putting that up now to prove me wrong.
Let's have a look here now.
I did have O'Dowda in there, and it's outrageous.
Let's see. You had Travers.
No, I'm not even near close. I had Mikey Johnson in it as well. And
Abanqua, Dunn, McGuinness, O'Dowda, Malumbi, Lowell, Mourne, Azaz, Sinclair Armstrong, Mikey Johnson, Rocco Vata. You're only about 1/3 of the way there.
Yeah. Well, Heimer, we'll listen one day. And but no, as I said, I enjoyed the show, lads. It's very good and great to hear the Raw faithful involved. A good bit of crack on it last night. A lot of fun.
That was wild. It was pretty wild. If you haven't watched it, check it back here on the YouTube channel. Speaking of which, subscribe, please. Otherwise,
subscribe.
Wow. Yeah, see what you've done now. You've upset Connor. Subscribe to the channel, please. Hit the like button as well. It's good for the algorithm. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And if you want an audio version of this, you can find it wherever you get your podcast from. Right. Actually, Mark, we're gonna go back to you. Of course, you were missing. You were absent whilst we were talking to the faithful. Mark was just throwing a strap because he wasn't hosting like me. Let's have a look. The squad is, and you can take that look off your face, Martin. Cheer up, will you miserable sod. Yeah, do check out last night's live. God, it was
a bit wild, wasn't it?
It was a bit wild, actually. God, if we ever make it big, lads, we'll have to. We'll need a producer, that's for sure, and a big censor. Right, let's have a quick look, Martin. We haven't heard from you about the squad, so as quick as you can. What do you make of it? Are you happy?
Yeah, happy with the new 4 additions. I think that's something we're big fans of. Josh Keeley, of course, and Josh Honohan coming in as well. And John Joe Patrick Flynn is someone we chatted about on the show at great length, and I'm looking forward to it now. These games, it's interesting. Obviously, he's mixed it up with a bit of the old guard, hasn't he? Like Robbie Brady still there, Seamus Coleman coming back in. A good bit of chat last night between the two of you on that. Enjoyed that, but a lot of experience there, and I think it's going to be how Heimer's going to approach these games. I think he'll go strong, perhaps against Senegal at home. Want to give the fans a feel-good factor bouncing into the qualifiers when it happens in September, and then Luxembourg away, a little bit of pressure off there to be a bit more experimental. And, I think we'll have enough to take care of them anyway. And maybe without the pressure of the home support, perhaps, let some of the others some of the newer players have a bit of game time there. So I'm happy with it overall. I'm not ruling out Seamus Coleman of leading us out at the World Cup. And, it's great, the news today. I mean, look, we know now 2026, our holidays are in America, and 2028, we're going to be in Dublin. And then finally ended up in the last game in Wembley.
Well, we might as well close the show there, Martin. You've given the whole game away. Thank you for that. Well, yeah, look, we won't go too much on it. You can find out about what Connor and I thought about the squad in the episode that we recorded. I was actually live. That is in the archives. But no,
Martin, no doubt.
No, I can understand it in a sense, and I think some of these players are going to be looking for moves and things like that. It'll be interesting what happens with him, because as I've said before, if he's going to try and keep an Irish career going, he's got to be moving, because you can't just play for Ireland if you're in League One. I mean, Heimer's press conference, which you covered really well, Connor. Well done on that. It did kind of highlight, he has had conversations with people, and fantastic as well. One thing as well, what a great day it was for Josh Keeley yesterday. Yeah, fantastic.
He's skipping
fantastic
ahead with our
independent
show here,
shootout.
is he?
No, I'm
Is-
not. I'm not. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
is he
saying.
going
like,
ahead?
Thank you for
we're
tuning
big
in,
fans of
folks.
Josh Keeley.
Thanks, it was good knowing you.
Oh, so you've done an intro, didn't you? But I'm just saying.
Back to normality here.
No,
This is Irish football, aren't we? Jesus, sorry. I'm sure people know. They want to hear our reactions.
yeah, but
My
we'll get to
reactions.
it. God,
Okay.
skipping ahead like a bloody record with loads of scratches on it there. Just one thing at a time, Martin.
Jesus.
One thing to talk about blowing your load, you are.
Jesus, just make sure Connor's always looking at the camera instead of you shouting at him like a naughty schoolboy, as you do.
Or playing his videos on the bloody camera.
Sometimes
I
stuff
did
is
enjoy
better,
that.
like-
Look, it's not a spoiler alert. Anyone who watched last night, you saw Connor reacting to the penalty shootout, didn't you?
Yeah, screaming into the mic.
Very
Sorry,
excitable.
sorry, man. He is an excitable human man.
Right,
Anyway.
come on.
Let's talk about. Of course, we're going to move on, but don't forget, we will be live in Dublin for the Senegal game. We will be live also in Luxembourg for all of that, the usual stuff. If you've watched us before, you know what we do during the international window. There's nowhere else really to go, is there? We go to the games. You know, we're there. We report from the ground. We're live. And we want to hear from you guys out there, the Roar faithful. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and head over to all of our social medias. Anyway, right. Big story today, which sort of broke not too long ago, really. And of course, it is the main title here. As you can see, Ireland qualify for Euro 2028. ... Well, that's because Mr. Gavin Kaminsky, I'm saying that right, aren't I? He is reported in Kaminsky. He is reported in the Irish Times. Republic of Ireland and fellow Euro 2028 hosts set for automatic qualification. UEFA Executive Committee set to rubber stamp qualification process at meeting in Bilbao next week. He writes, the Republic of Ireland, along with fellow Euro 2028 co-hosts Scotland, Wales and England, are expected to be granted automatic qualification for the tournament if they fail to qualify through the established process. And they're going to meet next Wednesday, yada, yada, yada. David Crowell had said about it in November last year that automatic slots will be held for host nation that fails to qualify. And also he said we are having conversations with UEFA about the working assumption. But the working assumption is all of us will go through qualification, and if we're unsuccessful in qualifying a merit, then there will be automatic slots in reserve, but that is yet to be ratified by UEFA. Well, it seems to be the rumor coming out last that it is going to be ratified. So there you go, we've qualified for the Euros. Hey!
Yeah, well done. We don't know who our
Well done,
manager
Heimer,
will.
you done a
It'll
great
still
job.
be Heimer. It'll still be Heimer, won't it? It obviously depends. I mean, that's an attractive thing for any future Ireland manager. If it goes wrong in the World Cup qualification, but I don't think it will. We're very optimistic, obviously, on the pod all the time. But you've probably got mixed feelings about this, Dave, because when it was announced, I remember that Ireland was co-hosting Euro 2028. You were not a fan, Dave.
No.
You were not a fan.
And I stand by it. I absolutely stand by for the reasons behind that. And since you brought it up, I'm going to talk about it. Yes, because Irish football, no, because the sort of nonsense that politicians who hold the purse strings will get from this. Oh my God, this is fantastic. Leo Varadkar, who was the Taoiseach at the time, turned around and said, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to showcase our world-class facilities in this country. And a few months later, the FAI said, oh, by the way, we need £1 billion to get our world-class facilities up to scratch. And it would paper over a lot of cracks. And also we wanted to know how much money would become that the FAI and football in this country would be receiving from those Euros and from the government. And I think was the figure 6 million that was touted at the time. Now we don't know what the actual figure will be, but it was £6 million. So yes, does that answer your question, Martin? I was very unhappy about that, but it's happening, so you might as well get on board the bandwagon.
No, I agree with you, Dave. Look, we know about the infrastructure. We know that the FAI are skint and they need money. But this will generate interest. I mean, the headline of this story is that we've qualified for Euro 2028. So the layman, the non-football people in Ireland are going to be seeing that and going, oh, wow, Ireland have qualified, or they're not going to know what we qualified for. But when it comes round, the interest will build. And that's a positive, I think, to focus on with that. And it will help the FAI hopefully get their house in order a little bit more now, as they have to do, to be able to go to the government and UEFA and get funding for what they need to do. So it is a big day for Irish football with when that is obviously ratified next week, because we'll have a qualifying campaign anyway, and hopefully qualify on our own merits. But if we don't, I look back with sadness. Really, we were the only country that gave up our hosting rights of a previous tournament, and I think to have it on our own shores is really, really important to kind of get that youth and young people being interested in football, and that will only grow the game. And not to spin that on a negative thing, I think the FAI, I think we have failed to capitalise on the feel-good factor with the women's game, because I think the interest has dropped a little bit there. It's very niche, of course, we know that, but I don't think we capitalised as much as we should have done on the women's game after that World Cup. And still, we're having a bit of turmoil, aren't we, in Irish football, with people leaving and things. I'm just being honest. That's what we do. That's what I bring to the pod: honesty and integrity. And you bring the facts, Dave. You bring the facts.
I bring the facts, and you bring the misery as well, Martin.
And Connor brings the youthful exuberance,
anger.
I just legendary.
Well, and the infatuation. I mean, I don't know, right? I'd like the Raw faithful to kind of actually comment on this. On our next live show, we'll have to say who is more obsessed with certain footballers, or the perception is, because you all go on at me, Dowder. But really, the Didsy one is one. That's a nostalgia one, okay? And then Josh Keeley's a new fanboy for him, of course. And then Sinclair Armstrong's another one. So, I mean, Connor's got a lot more than me, hasn't he? I mean, and we know you've got Ronnie Whelan. You've got Ronnie Whelan, haven't you, Dave?
I've got 10 or 15.
Ronnie Whelan, goal scorer, probably the greatest Irish goal of all time.
Oh, shut up. Michael Wafemi got that. Anyway.
Are you trying to say that was as good as...
No,
that was a better goal than a scissors kick from outside the box? Piss off.
I'm not average, but before I was born, doesn't count. But anyway. I'm great, Dave. I'm great. Thanks for asking. But
no one cares. But go on, tell us, please.
I can't believe we qualified. The effort and drive from this group of lads to qualify for this tournament is absolutely exceptional. I'm proud of each and every one of you. The contribution you have brought to this team, exceptional. But no, I'm happy. I think it's the perfect scenario to have to qualify for a tournament. I think. The fact is that we have to go through a qualifying period first. So it's not like we're, say, once Russia hosted, where you just played friendlies, 2 years of friendlies of the preparation you're playing is not great, because players are just trying to stay fit as such, because their clubs will probably be the main focus when they're playing friendlies rather than us. Actually, I know it'll kind of be glorified friendlies, but we're going to have big nights in Dublin, say, against a pot one team that we're going to have to really go and battle, and you have to turn up for. And I think it's actually a good way of building up for a tournament is getting through a full qualifying period. And I think the fact that we have will pretty much be guaranteed to go there will kind of help lads with confidence going into games, because I know they kind of play with nothing to lose. You're not going to just go and play against France at home and go 4-3-3 and just completely go at them, but there will be a release of confidence knowing that, if I make a mistake, people aren't going to kill me in the press, because there's always the next game, because we're going to be, not every game's not life or death at this stage for it. But
well, this is going to be a very interesting scenario now. We've never been in this before, where if we this is going on presumption that it is ratified next Wednesday. I mean, literally, the manager has nothing to lose. The players have nothing to lose. Would that not seriously inhibit performances where you think, well, what's the point? I'm playing for my club on the weekend. I don't really want to get injured, so we've qualified anyway. Won't that be in the players' minds? Well, we've qualified. What's the point?
No, because I think they are. They changed that a while ago, didn't they? Making teams who are host nations have not glorified friendlies in a sense, so it had to kind of be part of the qualification campaign. So, they did, they did. They did, didn't they?
No.
After the
Qatar, we played
Qatar were playing all the friendlies.
Yeah, we played.
but after that one, they did. I thought.
Who's after that? It was the last World Cup. Unless it's the three teams with Mexico, Canada, but that's multiple teams hosting it. If it's one nation hosting it, I think this will automatically qualify.
This is a whole new thing, because when they started doing the co,
but co is completely different. It's different when it's one nation.
That's what I mean. But when they were doing the co hosting, for example, Netherlands, and Belgium, the lowlands in Euro 2000. That was the first, and that was the first and they both qualified. Then I think you had Austria, Switzerland was 08, Portugal was 04, yeah, Switzerland and Austria was 08. I remember that was the one we were going for. Do you remember that, Martin, with Scotland? So, yeah, that's 2 they can afford it. It's the first time where you're going to have England, Scotland, Wales, Republic of Ireland. Northern Ireland won't be including that now. So there was going to be 5. Well, that's what happens when you get arsey about a stadium. Anyway, Ulster says no.
By the way, I have a question. What happens if we finish second in our group or in the playoffs? Do you play the playoffs, or do they be like, no, we'll pull them out and we'll just bring someone else into the playoff and just let them qualify?
See,
what way would you work that?
So, do you know what I think will happen is, I don't think they'll have qualifier. I think they'll just do what they did to Qatar when they were in our group. Like you'll be drawn. That only came in a few years ago, not that long ago.
They got drawn in the group, didn't they? And they played as the 4th team, but already they'd qualified. Yeah, that was it. Was it?
Like
that's what I meant.
You're part of the schedule, so
that's it.
Even numbers, and then basically, but your point, there's no point. You're just playing friendlies, because beforehand you just used to play friendlies, and then the host team rarely did well, and the hosts as well. The winners rarely did well, because do you remember back in the day that they would have to they didn't have to defend their championship, like they qualified automatically, and then he changed that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where even if you won it, you had to go and qualify all over again, because you used to be the hosts and the winners. There you go. I don't think they'll do a point thing. I think it'll just be like what they did with those teams. They'll just be included in the group just to
as long as we get to test ourselves against decent opposition, and we're not playing friendlies against crap nations.
You'll just be drawn, and that's what. But Connor, you probably stumbled across that with all due respect. That's probably why they won't have us in a group, because if we do get into a playoff, what happens then?
Yeah.
So we'll be the friend. We'll kind of be the friendly team in it then. Everyone just plays.
Yeah.
That will be it, won't it? Yeah.
We'll
be in a bigger group then. It might be is that we have a lot of journeys.
Maybe
we might have a lot of.
Maybe they'll lose something and put Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, and they just play against each other. But that'll be a bit depressing.
Probably still fuck it up somehow.
Yeah. I mean, look, UEFA will want the to do it correctly, I'm sure, because it's the money generated from the TV qualification games and things like that. And England will certainly want higher opposition than the home nations, in a sense, and Ireland in their friendlies. That's why they never engaged with that. The cup we won. What was the cup we won? The Celtic Cup, was it?
Nations Cup, the Carling Nations Cup.
Nations Cup, that's it, yeah.
More trophies recently than England since 1966. They can hold up.
Two major tournaments since 1986. Icelandic Triangle Tournament, and then the Nations Cup. Should have a third. We should have 3. Where are our 2 stars? We should have a third one. US Cup 2000. I'm going to write about that actually in the little exclusives for you there. I'm going to write about that in the next match day program. Where is our 3rd star? Anyway,
where is our trophy?
Where is the trophy? Where is that trophy?
The Icelandic trophy. That I've seen a photo of that somewhere once in a book. Yeah,
have you? I've never seen it.
Yeah, I have.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks for telling us exactly where it is.
Unless I've imagined it.
Valuable information to the program.
I mean,
probably looking at your son's. I don't know, like.
No, I will have to find that now, won't I? Jesus,
you really will.
No, look, overall, like, it's fantastic that we're going to qualify, and I think back to it's a real incentive now for some of these young lads, isn't it? Who are just coming into the squad now, that they are going to be competing in the tournament. And you'd even hope, like, the under-21s, how we use them in their qualification campaign is hopefully qualifying for a tournament and then get that experience, because that's what sadly a lot of our lads will be lacking. And again, the kind of perverse part of that as well is some of the older lot now who, I know you were very disparaging about Seamus Coleman perhaps hanging on for the World Cup next year, Dave. But some of the older guard then will be thinking, oh, look, it's a nice thing to bow out in 3 years' time in Dublin.
Our older guard
want to hang out.
Our older guard are pretty much shit. And we don't really have an older guard anymore. Who do we have? Matt Doherty, Robbie Brady, Seamus Coleman. Who else? That's it. They don't have an older guard as such anymore. But no, Matt Doherty's been decent, but he said, I seen an interview done with Sky Sports, and he's like, oh yeah, depending on how we do in these qualifiers will affect his future in international football. So obviously means that he's retiring after the qualifiers or after the World Cup if we qualify for
That's
that.
fair.
So.
That's absolutely fair. But anyway, it's all very interesting, folks. We'll see how it happens. We will obviously do another episode when that story breaks next week and we get it all rubber stamped. And, I'd imagine we'll see under what guise that will be. That'll all be very interesting. Now, let's move it on to the next one. His man here, Jason Knight. Could he finally get his move to the Premier League? Of course, the 24-year-old didn't with Bristol City. They got absolutely battered by Sheffield United in a record-setting 6-0 aggregate loss. However, there is rumour and innuendo doing the rounds around fan sites. Nothing in the mainstream media, so we just want to make that very clear. But there is talk that Everton are going to have a look at Jason Knight. This is from goodisonnews.com, so it's a fan page. Actually, no, Team Talk. Let's go to Team Talk. They're the ones that actually came up with it. So, Team Talk, Everton are working hard behind the scenes ahead of what will be a crucial summer transfer window, and strengthening the midfield is a top priority for David Moyes. They've got, is it Idrissa Gana Gay?
Yeah, he plays for Senegal. He'll be playing against us in June.
He will. And Dockery, is it? Dockery?
Decore.
Corey, you know me, my name. They're out of contract at the end of the season. They're out of
and it's Jason Knight you're talking about.
Yes. Yes. They're out of contract and there's no extension being offered. And to be fair, like the other lad, he's like 35 and 32, respectfully. So Team Talk understands that Everton has been scouting Bristol City midfielder Jason Knight this season and are considering a move in the coming weeks. Moyes has a history of signing players in the Championship and turning them into formidable playing Premier League stars, as we have seen with the likes of Tim Cahill, Tim Cahill, and Jared Bowen in the past. 924 played a vital role in helping Bristol City qualify for the playoffs, making 46 Championship appearances every game and notching 3 goals and 6 assists in the process. And then it goes on about blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what he's done. I think, chaps, if he does go to Everton, this would be a great move for him. And I think it'd be a great move for the club as well. He's the kind of player that Moyes loves. Engine on him, gives you everything. He's a terrific all-rounder. He played every single minute of every single game for Bristol City in the league, which is tough. 46 game season in the Championship, and it's a tough physical league as well, and you're traveling all over the country when you're playing in the Championship. So brilliant stuff from him. Fabulous professional. But yeah, this would be a great move for him, Connor, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd be delighted to see this happen, to be honest. I just want to see him get a move to the Premier League. But obviously you do have the big thing about the promoted teams, but I do think your Leeds that will go up this season, and I do think that Burnley will come up in a better shape than what they did the last time they came up, which will give them a relative chance of staying up. But it's still very hard to see when you see the likes of Spurs and Man United basically in the bottom 2 places before relegation. Like, they're not going to be that bad next season. So it's going to be interesting. So you'd want to see him go to a team like an Everton, or I don't know, you see maybe a Wolves. I know there are a lot of Brazilian players, maybe not that type of a player, but or like even West Ham, even though the record with Irish players isn't good at the moment, but probably that sort of team, like a mid-table team who are maybe trying to get to that next level. I think your Evertons or Brentfords would probably be the ideal place for Jason Knight to go to. I think we all have to say one club before this rumor came out. We probably all would have said Everton, to be honest, because you just know what David Moyes is saying, and you know what you're going to get with David Moyes. And the thing is, you know what Jason Knight exactly what you're going to get: energy, work rate, leadership now, and very, very solid on the ball. Can play at the half turn if you want to play him higher up the pitch, or he's very comfortable on the ball playing deeper. And plus, there is that Irish connection already with Jacob Bryan and Seamus Coleman. So,
but if Coleman's in his ear, isn't he? He's probably asked him, goes, look, he's a top lad.
Yeah, he's probably
Agent Seamus.
Yeah, and they've heard Wayne Rooney. Obviously, Wayne Rooney, club legend, has said that Jason Knight is the most honest player he's ever coached, and so yeah, I think it will be a perfect move. Everton adds up in terms of links, and that's where you could go, and especially with Idrissa Gueye and Decore looking like they're going. I think Decore has been doing a bit of a media run at the moment. It looks like he's going to be leaving in the summer. I don't know about Idrissa Gueye because he's actually been quite good, so they might try and keep hold of him, but he's getting old. And yeah, so for Everton need an overhaul at midfield. Jason Knight is not going to cost more than 15, to what 18, 19 million. Like he's not going to go for big money. So it's a win-win for both clubs, even because Bristol City know they're going to have to sell Knight eventually, and they might as well sell him now whilst he's young, and maybe get a decent sell on into it, that if he goes for much in the future.
Yeah, that's fair. Martin, you happy with it?
Yeah, happy with that. I think obviously, these managers, they do sound out their other pros there in there, like so Seamus and Jake will be putting a good word in for him, and even the injury record is really good. So he's going to be available for most games. I mean, that's so important now these days. It's very rare as well. So I think it would be a brilliant move for him, and money would be about right as well. What Connor said. So I hope it comes off for him, because I do. A lot of people are critical of him, saying, "Oh, he won't cope in the Prem," and I think you don't know until a player plays with probably better level players. And like I said, very honest, it's interesting saying bringing up Wayne Rooney there, Connor, considering he butchered him and did actually injure him, didn't he? At Derby when he was there. So, but yeah, great lad. I'd love to see him get the move for him, basically.
Yeah, no, it'd be fantastic. We'll obviously keep our eye on this as the season winds down. More Irish news, of course. This young man here, Johnny Kenny, got his first goal in his first start for Celtic. A lovely glancing header to make it 4-1 against Aberdeen, which of course they lost. Well, sorry, 1-5-1, and Adam Idah got his 20th goal of the season to make it 5-1, actually. So, Connor, delighted with this young man.
Yeah, I'm absolutely delighted that he's got his first goal for Celtic, as you said earlier. Finally, when it was his first start for Celtic. When you said off camera, you said off camera. Allegedly, you said it off camera. There, you have me now. But no, great to see. Excellent player. Another product of the League of Ireland system came through Sligo Rovers Academy, who are producing more and more talent all the time. It's a perfect example of a club that's investing in their academy, and it's coming back to reward them. I don't know. I hope they've somewhere in the contract that they sold him on about goals and appearances, that they might get a few extra bob for what he's doing now. And it's great to see. It's a great advertisement to League of Ireland about lads going on loan to the likes of Shamrock Rovers and stuff, going back. Like, he's gone back a way better player to Celtic from what his experience was for Rovers and in Europe. So he's a brilliant player. He could even be a shout if anyone pulls out of the Ireland squad to come in, because he'd be the only striker, I think, playing up to pretty much the end of the season regular, that will hopefully score a couple more goals, because he's an excellent player, and you can tell that he works very hard. And you could see by his face yesterday how happy he was and delighted that he got his first goal for Celtic, which is always good to see. And then you could see in his interview after, it was a very wholesome moment, as one would say. And it was great to see. And hopefully he can kick on. Maybe he mightn't be at Celtic in the long run, but hopefully he'll make them a bit of dough, and hopefully get Sligo Rovers a bit of dough as well if he gets sold in the summer.
Do you think he could come into the Ireland squad if Sammy Smolich, or do you think he'll? Because obviously, some of the championship lads, some of the players that you might think would come in for Smolich. Now, I'm not saying this because he's finally got a goal. That's it now. No, what I mean is that he's still playing, as you said. Smolich could be injured. Sinclair Armstrong is
finished now.
Is finished now, and Michael Obafemi, well, he's finished.
And Tom Cannon's finished. Tom Cannon's not finished. Tom Cannon could be the one because they're in the final, but Tom Cannon's not. The reality is, being honest with you, I put a lot of money. Tom Cannon's not going to play a minute in the final unless they get the extra time or something, because they have other strikers who've had him. He only played the other day because they rotated, because they were 3-0 up. So he's quite far down the. It's not that he's a bad player. It's just that it's the reality at Sheffield United. The move hasn't went well so far, so he's quite far down the pecking order. So yeah, Johnny Kenny could come in. Be probably between Johnny Kenny and Tom Cannon, because you're probably thinking who's the freshest and who's the more likely. And Johnny Kenny actually hasn't played. Either is Tom Cannon, but they haven't played a huge amount of football especially Johnny Kenny, since coming back from Rovers, and he's shown for Rovers that he can adapt to a higher level, and now he's shown for Celtic what he can do. So no, it's great to see. He's an excellent player, and it's been a long time coming. And
Martin, Adam Idah getting his 20th goal for Ireland. You doubted him, Martin. You badmouthed him. Yeah. We were always defending him week in, week out. And
Adam Idah scored his 20th goal for Ireland. That's what you just said.
Who's Adam Idah?
When are we recording this? When are we recording this?
I'm foreseeing. It's 20 goals for Celtic. Well, Celtic is an Irish team. And Well, yeah, there you go. You've just heard it. Martin has said Celtic are not an Irish
I
team.
didn't. I just reacted.
Wow.
They're playing the Scottish League.
Coming back with your goddamn negativity, Martin. God, cheer up, will you?
Well done to Adam Idah on his 20th goal for Celtic. And yeah, I thought it was interesting again in the press conference. You know, some of the press lads asked about, you know, was he impressed, Heimer, with him scoring so many goals in Scotland? I thought that was an interesting one to cover that. But you know, he answered quite well, didn't he? He said, you know, that he's on the ball a lot more because Celtic have dominance of the football up there, as they do. It's so hard to judge, isn't it, Scottish football? Because
It's shite.
the dominance.
No, but there's some decent things. There's decent players, but the average team is crap.
Yeah.
They act like it's better. No, but Celtic are a very good side. Celtic are a good side. Rangers are quite poor, even by Norman Rangers standards. Over the last 5-6 years, is probably the worst Rangers team I've seen, and the rest teams are quite shit.
You're
the test of them is in
the next live.
No, but the test of them is in Europe and stuff, and that's where they do. You know, they obviously
done well
raise
against
their
Aston
game
Villa.
and things.
Done very well against Aston Villa, which must be said.
Yeah. And you know, they have their days in the sun, of course, like that, and it's mad that even they're still going now, and then they'll be back before the Premier League starts as well, won't they? Their season's so long.
But it must be said, though, Mark, it must be said, it is still huge for a player like Adam Idah, even though the standard opposition isn't great. He is getting these goals, and it's going to be a massive confidence booster, even when he goes and plays against better opposition, whether it's for Ireland or in the Champions League. If you're able to score at that level, being the main man as such, up front, whether, I don't know, because I think they'll end up probably signing the striker in the summer, which might negatively affect whether he becomes the main man there or not. It's still a huge confidence booster for Idah, and it could help massively with Ireland in the long run. If he can keep scoring goals for Celtic, although it's not like he's scoring goals in the Premier League, his confidence will be brimming, and it'll bring a lot of international football that might be better for them rather than playing maybe in the Championship and not scoring half the goals.
Yeah, that's exactly, and he does score in the big games. You know, he's judged on. He's not just scoring goals against the dregs of the Scottish Premier League. He does score in the top games. He scores against Rangers and things. So, I think, you know, we want our players playing, and I know it's not a fantastic level, just being honest. But you know, fair play to him. You know, and he's going to justify that move, and just be able to show, like, I can put the goal level on the table to you, Mr. Manager, or wherever you are. You know what I mean? I can prove that you've got to be having me there. I'm your informed striker. Doesn't really matter what league you're playing on. It's a little bit like the argument of players playing in League One. You know, it's obviously not high enough level. It's not competitive enough. But for a striker, ultimately, he can be judged on goals. And if he's hitting the net regularly, he's got to be in the Ireland squad and arguably then be trusted. And he was trusted, wasn't he? I mean, he scored the penalty. He's brave, Idah. You know, he doesn't mind taking a penalty. He did that against the Dutch. I think he needs to develop his all-round game, and maybe that's where he's going to get a bit more time in Scotland. You know, he talks it up himself. He says, "Oh, I make runs and all this kind of stuff," but you can be very experimental with your game there. The contrast with him with Evan Ferguson is he's not getting game time, and he can't develop as much because teams that he plays in don't dominate the ball as much. So, you know, it is in Idah's favour, but you know, we need him to keep scoring goals, and ultimately, I don't think he would score enough goals in the Premier League if he ever got a move there.
No. And finally, this man here, Josh Keeley, he is in the League One playoff final. Saved a penalty. If you don't believe us, just watch back the live as Connor blew his load live on live on a stream there. But yes, Josh Keeley, Connor, he is in the League One playoff.
Just him, is it?
Just him. He's up against Charlton or whoever on his own.
But he's not the only Irishman athlete in the world.
You get Ollie O'Neill as well. Well done,
yes,
Ollie.
I don't be discriminating against Ollie O'Neill. Scored the goal to put them 1-0 up after 2 minutes.
So dismissive.
Yeah.
Dave.
He's a part of your London Irish community as well. So you think,
yeah,
I wouldn't be so disrespectful.
No, nothing against Ollie O'Neill.
Yeah,
you know.
Josh Keeley's probably the greatest player or goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life. It's the hero penalties. That's the third shootout they've won this season, just because of him. because he's the GOAT. And Leighton Orient are going to get promoted. I seen Heimer say yesterday, I don't know if you heard that, Martin, we said last night, that he said hopefully Leighton Orient get promoted, so it means Josh Keeley will get to play next season in the Championship. I think he's forgot that he's on loan from Spurs.
Yeah.
I don't know, he must have been told that when he was going to watch him. He mightn't realise what players are on loan or not, but no, I think it's going to be a huge summer for Josh Keeley, and there's only heightened now the fact that he saved that penalty last night. He is so cool and composed on the ball, and he doesn't nothing really feels him. Like, he seems to, if you've seen his antics during the penalty, he seems to be properly embracing it and was trying to wind up. He got a yellow card for I think it was winding up the Stockport fans he done, and then he was winding up the players taking their penalties and stuff. So no, he seems like a type of keeper that you don't want to go up against during a penalty shootout, which is a huge thing, and he uses confidence, and I think they'll get the job done next weekend. I don't know if you've seen his interview after, but he was talking about how a lot of people have been writing Leighton Orient off and writing them off, so they seem to be playing with a chip on their shoulder as well. And I think that obviously it's, as time recording, Charlton against Wickham started 2 minutes ago, which we'll be watching after that, which Conor Coventry and Alex Gilbert are both starting for Charlton, and which is good to have more Irish involvement. Hopefully we'll have Charlton get through and we'll have a Orient against Charlton final. And so no, I think Leighton Orient will probably go and win the final. I think, to be honest, I think they've so much confidence in themselves at the moment through what they've done, and even against the likes of Derby and the FA Cup and then Man City, they got so close to beating them. So it's a great occasion for all the Irish lads involved.
No, fantastic. We'll be cheering for Josh. Hope he does well.
We will, yeah. I mean, look, I saw him in action. I mean, he could end his season at Wembley, and that's after he started his season at the Dave Bryant Stadium, Enfield Town, playing for Spurs while I watched on. So a nice end to the season for him.
Sorry, just before we go, lads, I have something that we must do. Can we please bow our heads and stay quiet for a second? Anyone listening to audio, we've just had a minute of silence for King Didsey, who is unfortunately out of the second leg of Notts County against Wimbledon due to injury, and his season has been cut short due to injury. It's a very unfortunate thing that happened. Per Didsey, season been cut short. Notts County season's probably gone up in smoke because they're without their king. And that's the end of that. Well, did you see he won Fans Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year, and Goal this season? So just what a legend.
And still didn't give you an interview, did he? Anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, lads. Thank you for watching, of course, at home. Do comment, do like the video. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. This next month, we will be in Dublin. We will be in Luxembourg. We're going to follow the boys in green wherever they go. Wherever they are, we are too. That's how we roll. Yeah, we're going to have a live episode coming up this week. Not too sure of the time. We're going to figure that out right out, actually, after we come off this. And, of course, we'll be back with the League of Ireland next week as well. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He is Mark Prendergast. He is also Conor McAvoy. And also give him a little follow over at Rep Tracker. This is Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. We're out of here. This is Lansdowne.
You last night, what was the comment about pictures of 14-year-olds about John Bannon?
I lost it, man. Fucking lost it. I
Brilliant.
Absolutely lost it. What do you do with your... And you can't even like... I was like, oh shit, but it's too late. It's on there because you don't have a producer. He just goes through the comments and you see it.
You should clip this bit of us laughing, because it just shows that we're all laughing because we get accused of being too serious. Well, I do.
Yeah.